I've made numerous custom items and even a tutorial on how to add them. However, some fairly substantial changes were made in Minecraft 1.19.3, so this is an updated tutorial on how to add custom items to Minecraft. This tutorial focuses mostly on the resource pack side of adding new items for a data pack to use. However, near the end, I'll explain the basics of actually getting those items added into your data pack. Step 0. Get the vanilla files for textures and models. Before we can edit the vanilla model files to allow us to add our own textures and models, it is smart to start by obtaining the vanilla files so that we can avoid typos and mistakes that will break stuff. To do so, start by finding the .minecraft folder. You can get there either by searching %appdata% or by, in Minecraft, clicking the Open Minecraft folder button, or Open Pack folder button. Once you have navigated to .minecraft, find the versions folder and then the Minecraft version you want the files from. So most likely the latest version of Minecraft. And once you have found this file, you can finally open it using a program like 7-zip. So for me, I'll need to go Show More Options, 7-zip, and then click the Open Archive button. This will bring up a folder that looks like this. All of the textures and models are contained in this Assets folder. So you can just right click and click the Copy To button and bring them out of this folder. And I would highly suggest saving this somewhere on your computer because there are many situations where it's nice to have access to all of the vanilla Minecraft textures. Step 1. Editing the item model. Now that we have all of the files, we can decide which one we will be editing and then edit it. This of course will need to be done inside of a valid resource pack, meaning that you have an assets folder, a pack.mcmeta. That file should look like this. Inside of the assets folder, you will make a folder called Minecraft, and then a folder called models, and then finally a folder called item. So ultimately our path ends up being the resource pack name, assets, Minecraft, models, item. So now if we go to the Minecraft assets that we grabbed earlier in step 0, we can go to the models and item folder and see every model in the entire game. And for the sake of this tutorial, we will be grabbing the emerald model. So I'm going to copy that and put it into our assets, Minecraft, models, item folder. Upon opening this file, you'll see you have a pretty simple amount of text here. This just describes what the item should look like, and then also what the texture of the item is. And this is where we're going to add our own changes to the model. So we're going to add this comma here, and then the word overrides, and then some square brackets, and then our first predicate of custom model data, with a value of 1 in this situation, and this is going to reference a model that is found in the tutorial folder that is called Custom Emerald. This file and folder doesn't currently exist, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But formatting wise, you will want to make sure it looks exactly like this. Any typos in here will cause massive problems. Now, you can actually have multiple of these at the same time, not just one model. However, you'll notice currently these are underlined as an error. That's because you need to separate each of them by a comma. But your final one in the list should not have a comma at the end. And then obviously you can't have 4 models all with the same custom model data. So you would want to sequence them so that they're all different. In terms of limits, you can have up to 10 million of these references inside of a single model. And because you have so many, for compatibility reasons, developers like myself don't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, because that doesn't work compatibility wise. Instead, developers like myself have a 3-digit code that we use to start all of our models with. So for me, I go with 637 and then a bunch of zeros, and then it counts up from there. For obvious reasons, I don't really need to worry about having 10,000 items. I've only made about 500 in total. So pick your own 3-digit number and then go with a bunch of zeros and count up from there. Just don't add an extra 0 here. You'll be past the 10 million max. For the sake of this tutorial, I will only be editing one model and I will be labeling it with a custom model data of 1, but definitely follow that advice that I just gave. And in theory, that is everything done for step 1. So let's go check it out in game. All right, so in game, we should make sure that we have the resource pack selected. And if we do, we can grab ourselves an emerald and we will see that it is unaffected. There's no difference to this emerald at all. However, if we give ourselves an emerald with these brackets and then custom model data 1, which again in our resource pack would give us the custom model, you will see that we get a purple and black cube. And this is precisely what we were wanting to happen. We have our emeralds unaffected and we have a purple and black cube. So that is the end of step 1. Make sure that at this point in the project, you can still see the vanilla emerald, but you can also get this purple and black cube if you have custom model 1. If both of them look like a regular emerald and you are not getting this purple and black cube for your custom model data emerald, that means you have probably messed up the path of your resource pack. So double check that the model you're editing is inside of the assets Minecraft models item folder. Specifically item being non-plural, models being plural. If you are getting a purple and black cube for both the regular emerald and the custom model emerald, that means you likely have a typo inside of the model that you are editing. Some common issues inside of here include missing a comma at specific places. You'll see with Visual Studio Code, it makes it very clear that I should have a comma after this bracket. Suppose you were missing this comma, it would have a problem there. Or again, if you have multiple of these lines, you would need commas alongside, well, at the end of all of these. Similarly, if you have an extra comma, like a trailing comma at the end of your final one in the list, that would also cause an issue. Another common issue I saw people having where they had leading zeros, where they were like, okay, well, let's just go and have my number be 000, 0001, 002, so on and so forth. But you can't have any leading zeros because that's not how math works. And similarly, as I mentioned earlier, your number cannot be 10 million or higher. So if that's the case, that would also lead to this broken model. When adding multiple custom model data, make sure that you order it in ascending order, like 1, 2, 3. If you order it opposite of that, like 3, 2, 1, it will not work. Your folder name and your model name should not have capital letters in them. And you can also not have any spaces or special characters. These will all make it fail. And then finally, just look for typos. Make sure overrides is spelled right, make sure predicate is spelled right, custom model is spelled right, model, so on and so forth. All of those need to be spelled right. Funny enough, these two are the only ones that don't need to be spelled properly for this to work. So hopefully those common issues solved your problem. If they didn't, feel free to message me on my Discord. That is linked in the video's description. Moving on to step 2, we should again have an emerald that looks like an emerald and the custom model emerald looking like a purple and black cube. Step 2, making our own custom model. Before we get too far into this, I do want to mention parent models. Not all items are this item generated. Some of them, like a sword or an axe, might be type item handheld, where a carrot on a stick is going to be a handheld rod, or a bow might actually just be generated. It is definitely worthwhile looking at those vanilla Minecraft models to make sure that you're using the right type, because a sword is going to look really silly if you set the type to be generated. So our next step in this process, now that we have this override that we know is working, and we know that the custom model data we give the item will then look for a model in whatever folder we define, now we just need to give it a model to actually point to. We have a folder called tutorial, and then it is looking for a model inside of the tutorial folder called custom emerald. This can be named whatever you want. So maybe you're making a storage data pack, so you call this the storage folder, or you're making some hose, so you call it the hose folder, right? Doesn't really matter as long as you just give it a name and then you figure out what your item model should be called. So inside of our resource pack then, to actually find where this model is going to be saved, it will be saved inside of our models folder, and now it's looking for the folder named tutorial. So now that I have a tutorial folder, I simply need to put the model that we're referencing into here. In this case, because we're making a new type of emerald, it makes sense to grab the old emerald model and just put this in here. And then we need to rename it to custom emerald because that's what we have it called in our model. And so now our emerald.json model will look for the tutorial folder, which we now have, and it will find the custom emerald file that is right here. And so now all we have to do is edit this file to reference the new texture that we're going to have. In this case, we might as well name it the same thing. So we'll make a tutorial folder and we'll call it custom emerald. But in your situation, you would name it whatever folder you want it to be, and then whatever the item name is. And if we go back into Minecraft and reload the resource pack, you'll see that we no longer have a purple and black cube. Instead, it is a purple and black plane. And that's because our model is properly loading, it just cannot find the texture because we don't have the texture yet. And that is the end of step 2. So some common issues that can happen here are typically with the file path. So if you are still getting a purple and black cube for your custom modeled emerald, double check in your emerald.json file that you have the proper folder name and the proper file name for whatever you're doing. And you can double check that here. You'll make sure that it's in the models folder, the tutorial folder, and then custom emerald.json. Oh, and if this is displaying as a vanilla Minecraft item instead of a purple and black plane, that probably means that in your custom model over here, you are referencing a texture that actually exists, unlike what we're currently doing in the tutorial where it doesn't exist. Step 3, getting the texture to load. At the end of step 2, we ended up with a model that is referencing a texture inside of the tutorial folder named custom emerald. This doesn't currently exist, so let's make that happen. Our first step is to, in our assets Minecraft folder, create a folder called textures. And then we called the folder that the texture should be in tutorial, so now we just need to make that. So I will call this tutorial, but you will name this whatever folder you want it to be called. And then finally, we just need to put the texture that we actually want here. So in this situation, I'm going to go back to the Minecraft assets we downloaded in step 0, go to the textures folder, go to the item folder, and then I want to grab this emerald file right here. I will copy that and paste it here. This needs to be renamed to custom emerald because that's what it is. And while we're at it, I should also texture it so it appears different in game. This isn't a tutorial on how to make textures, so I won't go into much detail here, but just know I'm using paint.net. It's my editor of choice, and I'm just going to change it so that these emeralds are, I don't know, whatever that color is. So save this file, and you will see now we have that color of emerald. So if we load this up in game and reload our resource pack, you'll see we still actually have a purple and black plane. That's because there's a new step needed as of Minecraft 1.19.3. So that is the end of step 3. Unfortunately, it's a little bit harder to bug test this because there could be 2 issues here. But if you are running into issues and the next step doesn't solve those issues, definitely double check that your path that you have defined in your custom model is accurate to the path that you have here. So again, in this situation, it's assets, Minecraft, textures, tutorial, and then the name of the item, which is custom emerald in this situation. Some other things that might make this not load could be if your texture is not square. So don't make a 24 by 16 texture, it needs to be square. 16 by 16 is the default Minecraft texture size, so probably stick with that. Oh, and also keep it divisible by 2. It's pretty important to Minecraft that the textures are divisible by 2, otherwise it will cause a lot of visual glitches throughout your entire Minecraft world. Step 4, configuring an atlas. So before our textures will actually display in-game, we need to create an atlas file as of Minecraft 1.19.3. This file basically tells the game that it should look for a texture at this location. Navigate to your assets folder, your Minecraft folder, and then create a folder here called atlases, like such. Inside of your atlases folder, create a file called blocks.json, and then open that, and you will get this file here. You might need to type this out yourself, but you'll want 2 brackets on either end with a sources, some square bracket, more brackets here, and then you have this type, directory, and then you'll have your source, which is called tutorial, and then your prefix, which is tutorial with a slash at the end. So this is basically telling Minecraft to look for a folder called tutorial, and everything inside of that tutorial folder, it will load as a texture. But suppose you want to have a bigger resource pack than just one single folder, you can grab all of this, add a comma to the end of this, and then paste it, and then you'll have another folder. So we could call this like swords or whatever. And now we have a swords folder that it will look for, and if it finds the folder and there's textures inside of it, they will load. And you can have as many of these as you want. So you can just keep adding them, and that's where you get your bows and your hoes and whatever, right? But with that complete, if we load up Minecraft, upon loading our resource pack, we will see our texture finally shows up. So we have our regular emerald still, and if we grab our custom model emerald, we get a very pink or red or purple or whatever color that is emerald. So we've done it. We've added a new item to Minecraft. Sort of. Step 5. Custom models rather than flat textures. But what if we want something more complicated, like the meteor wand from More Wands? Well, it is the exact same method to get a custom item as it is to make your own custom model. If you are wanting to make custom 3D models, I would highly suggest getting the program Blockbench. It is incredibly powerful at making Minecraft models. Now, this isn't a tutorial on how to actually make a custom model, but just know that essentially you're building out of little voxels, and they can have their own textures and stuff applied to them. So if you're wanting to make your own model, you can just go New Java block or item model, click confirm, and then you can start shaping it however you want it to look. And then in your resource pack, whatever textures you actually want to apply to this model, you would simply put inside of your textures folder alongside like items and whatnot. But in this case, you would add them over here. You can import the textures and you can apply them to the different voxels. And if you've done everything right, when you save your model, you can basically treat it exactly the same as you did the custom emerald. You just put it in the folder alongside any of the other ones, and when you reference it in your main like emerald.json model, it will just load and you have your whole cool custom 3D model. And so that's all there really is to making 3D models. The more complicated part really was setting up the item model and learning all of the folder structure stuff. Step 6, getting the item in game. So I'm sure you've noticed by now, we have our vanilla emerald, but then we have our textured emerald, but they're still called an emerald, and it doesn't really do anything, right? Well, that's where your datapack can come in, or even if you're not using a datapack, just a simple command can make this a whole lot better. And this is where the fun really begins. If we use a website like MCStacker, which is really good for generating all sorts of commands, we can generate a give command for our emerald or any other item that we're doing and define all of the components of it. So in this case, I can add a custom name, and we're going to make this a red emerald. And then we're going to set it to not be italicized, because by default it will be italicized. But we can also do some other stuff. We can set our custom model data here. We can also add custom data. This we can set to literally whatever we want. So I'm just going to set it to like red emerald and then :1. But it will be able to be used by our data pack when we are looking to actually determine what type of item our custom thing is. And then we can add whatever else we want here. We could make it a type of food. We could set it to be a type of tool. We could give it an attribute, like make it so that, I don't know, you get armor, or, I don't know, luck, or I guess burn time. There's a whole bunch of new attributes in Minecraft 1.21, so look around in these and, I don't know, maybe you find something cool that you want to add to the item. And then once you're done, your output will generate in the top right, and you can copy this into the game. And yeah, that's the end of step 6. So that's how you get the item in game and have it be named something different and potentially have it do something different. I will be making a tutorial in the near future explaining how to get your items to hook into custom code. So maybe you want an emerald that when you right click it teleports you in the direction you're facing. Or you want a sword that when you hit a mob. Oh wait, I already did that tutorial. Go check it out. It's in the iCard in the top right. But yeah, I'll be making a tutorial on how to just detect that you're holding a custom item and do something with that. So stay tuned for that. I hope this tutorial has solved whatever issues you had creating custom items in Minecraft. If it has, definitely hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. And yeah, subscribe for more videos like this. And if you do want help with this, maybe my tutorial missed some step, or you didn't understand something correctly, feel free to join my Discord. I am happy to help you guys. Just make sure to ask in the Datapacks chat. But that's all I got, so thanks so much for watching.